Whew. Hey guys, what is up? I'm back. Yeah, I know it's been a while, 2 whole months. So yeah, in this video we're gonna go over rotoscoping and blending grease pencil. So yeah, let's go ahead and get started. I'm super excited. So yeah, this is the video that we're gonna reference from. Uh, this is just to kind of get used to this. I found this on YouTube, going over images and referencing them and doing things like that. Uh, yeah, so we are now so here I am. We're just gonna go ahead and create like a basic shape. By the way, I'm the worst at my drafts. Okay, so like I'm still learning drawing. Like this is literally like I don't even think it's been a year of me animating, so please forgive me. Like this is what I struggle with the hardest, is rotoscoping, but you all wanted to see it, so this is me making an attempt. But the main thing that I'm trying to emphasize here is just like where his face is, where his body is, and to be honest, whatever makes sense to you, make it work. The hardest thing here for me was like I don't draw a lot of legs, and so like him wearing these very baggy legs, I don't know how his hips and legs and knees, his lower body, I was just kind of lost because I was just like, I don't know which way he's facing. So we're just gonna make the character like look somewhat like that. But the one thing I did want to emphasize was where his torso and his arm and his face was. So as you can see, I'm just on a layer. We were just going over and just kind of doing a really rough sketch. This, by the way, the whole project took me a while. I want to say several hours. So just remember, if you're gonna do the old school way of rotoscoping, just know that you're probably gonna have to go back and just be aware that it's gonna take some time. It really is gonna take some time. Like the whole process is very time consuming. It takes a long time. So just be patient, throw some music on, whatever comforts you. Don't drink coffee. I would say don't drink coffee. It makes you just anxious and rush through things. I mean, for me it does. Like I just get really like, oh my gosh, I want to hurry up and finish. But yeah, if you see I'm going just kind of like every other frame here where his key poses are at, that's where I'm really trying to focus in on, like just to make sure like it looks good, where they're really dramatic. And then I'm just drawing a new frame on the dramatic ones. But as you can see, the quality is all over the place. Like on some frames it's like overly detailed in the fingers, and then on others it's just really not detailed at all. Some frames I have hair, some frames I don't have hair, so it really is up to you. But I would say be coherent and consistent, and it just takes practice like overall. So yours is probably gonna look, your mileage will vary, but it'll most likely look better than mine. Honestly, kind of looks badass, but like my sketches look really good, but they don't look that good. But like I think my sketches look better than the final because I didn't know how to shade that much that much animation. So yeah. And here's what I'm talking about with the legs. I was just a little confused on where his knee was, but just kind of try to pay attention and see where his weight is shifting. And then you can see like some frames he's really buff, and then other frames he's not so buff. But just keep in mind like his overall proportions and try to keep them somewhat symmetrical. And I think because it's going so fast, like don't overthink it. And I definitely overthought it. But yeah, it's just a practice thing, to be honest. So it'll get better with time. And the human body has a lot of joints and moving things. So I read somewhere that if you practice your lifestyle drawings, it'll help you with your animation. So that's actually what I've been trying to do in my free time. But if y'all do know or you don't know, I am in college. So I'm doing 16 credit hours right now, which is very heavy load. So that's partially why I haven't been able to upload as much and also practice my drawing. But if y'all have free time, I would highly encourage you to practice your lifestyle drawings, because it makes you a better animator, because you can of course you can draw poses and exaggerate those poses more realistically. So as long as you have a good realistic basis, then it's easy to exaggerate from. It's more believable in my opinion, but that's what I read. I don't know. So yeah. And so yeah, now here I am just like playing it through. We are just seeing, and I'm making minor adjustments, and so when I switch to edit mode, I'm just kind of like moving things around. And I was trying to I think I was just trying to like play with some things to see if I can make the animation more interesting and stuff like that. So yeah. So yeah, so now we're going to create a new layer, and we're just going to name it Linework, and now we're going to start the line work, which, by the way, my line work sucks. So I needed to do way more practice, and I started doing a character overly detailed. Do not do what I do. Remember that when you're animating, you're going to do the least amount of detail possible, and this is exactly the opposite of what you need to do, is add a lot of detail, because if you're doing rotoscoping, that means you're going to have to animate in all those details. Take a look at anime. The style is very unique, of course, but there's a reason why things are simplistic in the foreground and the objects are getting animated, whereas it is very rare to see a very complex animated character. But I will say, there are some more advanced anime style shows like the Boondocks. If you kind of look at how detailed the shading is on their faces in particular, I would say that takes a lot of time, a lot of dedication, and a good understanding of light. So I would say go top of the lifestyle drawings to improve as an animator, improve your light as well. We'll read some lighting books, practice different types of lighting, dramatic lighting, not dramatic lighting, blending, stuff like that. But as you can see, like, I'm just trying to get a baseline for the character. I want him to be kind of like a fighter. My original idea was it to look like an arcade, like a fight style, but I think I eventually just threw that out. I just went for the cyberpunk theme, which brings me to another point. If any of y'all watch anime, you should definitely check out Netflix's Edge Runners Cyberpunk Edge Runners series. It's amazing. Very sad at the end. I think you all like it, but that's kind of what I took inspiration for as far as the background, which I should have led with that so my character matched it. Kind of plan before you animate. Always plan before you animate. I did not plan. I just dove right in to have fun. But anyways, here I am, just trying to remember what the character looked like and just trying to draw over each frame. This took a lot of time, guys. I'm really trying to emphasize this here. This took a lot of time. So if you cannot animate every single part of the body, don't do it. I would say just pan the camera, just like a lot of animes do. Just pan the camera. It gives the illusion of like moving and like things like that, and then just really save these scenes for like a time where you need to animate, like where you have to animate. But seriously, do not do this all the time. I mean, like, I'm not saying you'll burn out, but my God, you'll probably be the best drawer of all time because you'll be drawing so much. It's just extremely time consuming, this frame by frame stuff. So yeah, here's what I did. I think I imported images planes, and then I just moved it to the side over there to use as a reference, so I can kind of look at him, so I can kind of get somewhat similar to how he looks. As you can see on this drawing, it's not detailed on his hand because I started to just throw those fingers out. I was like, bro, this is too much detail. And even his face is inconsistent, which I'm not happy about, but that's another thing altogether. But yeah. Yeah, so just finish up that line work, and the line work is pretty crucial. So, oh yeah, another thing that I want to make note of about the line work is don't be lazy like me. Your boy lazy. Okay, I did not take the time to connect my lines. I know this is like something you learn in like grade school, like primary school, art class, or they say color within the lines and stuff. Yeah, I don't even take the time to connect the lines. Really, on your line work, take the time to, because this is me hindsight, take the time to correct your lines. My God, take the time to do that. Like, that's the whole point. Make sure the lines are closed off, because when you get to the color section and you start using the fill tool, it's not gonna work because you didn't close off those lines. I know that sounds like really dumb, like for like people who have common sense, but for me, I guess didn't have common sense, and decided to not use that. But yeah, so don't be me. Be better than me. Be better than the gap. So yeah, here I am just like playing it back. I'm feeling really good because I'm like, okay, cool. The animation is like almost over. Thank God. And then as you can see, the inconsistency. Try to be consistent. Like sometimes I'm putting fingers on him, and other times I'm not. Be consistent. His face is also not consistent, so the character recognition is kind of hard. If I could redo this, I probably would do it without facial features, just because of I really have to pay attention on his face, and like I'm not that good at character design, so I'm still working on that. As you can see, his chin is all over the place. There's so many things. Looking back at it, go back, take advantage of your tools, the sculpt tool, the lasso, like edit mode tool, and you know, it's just, for me, when I draw digitally, I always forget to use tools like that, and I'm just drawing a question mark here, and I'm not too sure why I drew a question mark. Okay, cool. So here I just like imported this like color palette sheet that I was gonna reference off of. So I think I just did this as an image as planes, and then just went around and I tried to use a fill tool. And this is what I'm telling you is like the importance of making sure your lines are clean, because if your lines are not clean, you're gonna run into the issue that is, of course, having to manually draw the fill, which means you need to create a new material and then just kind of go in and just draw like you were just drawing before. It just wastes a lot of time. So yeah, this is me kind of experimenting with some backgrounds, and I was just like, no, I don't think this is gonna work. Okay, cool. So now this is me referencing a scene from Edge Runners. I'm just kind of jumping into Affinity, which is just like a photo editing thing. So it's just like Photoshop basically. I used to try to make tutorials for this, but there wasn't a huge audience for it, so I had to like stop. But yeah, I'm just basically drawing the floor texture that we're gonna use later on. I'm kind of copying the floor that's in the Edge Runners screen grab that I got from, I think, Netflix. I'm not really sure where I got that from. I think it was just a scene on YouTube. And then yeah, I'm just kind of painting everything in here. So we're going to use this later as the image texture on a 3D model that will be applied in the grease pencil like scene. So basically it'll be like 2.5D and so stuff like that. This is like way too light. I think I hope I darkened this. For sure, yeah, I did. Okay, I darkened it because I was like, damn, this is like way too light. But yeah, don't be like me, be better than me when it comes to the painting. Once again, still an amateur painter. So yeah. Why is that like so slow? That's so yeah, just making sure like we're kind of painting out the main details of everything. We're using to make sure brushes, raster, of course, like the pen tool and things like that. We're just gonna expand the stroke and just kind of play with some of that. So yeah, and then here I was going to play with like create a separate one for the emissions shader, and I don't think it really worked out too much, but I basically export both of these like separately, and I'll use one as like either a specular map or the emissions shader. And so yeah, what I do is come in here and then I just do Shift A, and we're gonna add a new 3D object. And when we add that 3D object, we're just going to apply an image texture to the principal BSD node, and then we will of course use Node Wrangler, which is an add-on that's included with Blender. Just make sure you go into your settings and enable it. And then actually I think I'm turning it into an emissions shader, not too sure, but then I realized that, oh wow, I made this too big, so I just update the file really quick. And then we just kind of use the coordinates, the texture coordinates, to move it around. And then we start doing some scene setup. So it's pretty cool so far. And then I'm just kind of using the knife tool to kind of give it like some depth. So I'm just kind of extruding out certain parts that I see fit, like these little plates, which looking back at it, I don't think I really needed to do that. It would have made sense if I made like a building, but yeah, I'm just going around and tracing these and extruding them, so like it gives it some depth, but like I don't know if that really did anything, to be honest, to the final composition. So as you can see, like it just raises up, and then I extended it out, and then I UV unwrap this texture. I'm trying to like remap it, but I didn't hit the right button now that I look back at it, because I'm like, why the heck is it not going, but part of me is like, yeah, forget it, like it's cool, like it's not that serious. So yeah, and then here I am just Shift A, create those cubes, and we're just gonna kind of do some quick poly modeling and to kind of just block out that scene. So yeah, here I am just blocking out the rest of the scene, just trying to use simple shapes, and you should do that as well. I believe there is, yeah, and here I am just creating the background. Later I'll fix the background, but we're just gonna use a flat plane, create the image texture to the scene, and just kind of use texture coordinates to skew and line it up. Later I'm going to mask her out completely so that her body's not there, but we just want that scene to look, and make sure it's an emissions shader, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, so here is my first kind of like render, like pass to see like what it looks like with the character fully colored. And now we're gonna do like lighting and stuff like that. I'm not too sure if I added the... Okay, cool. So here we are in the composition. This is actually really kind of crucial to what I want to talk about. I might make a whole different separate video for this, but in the composition tab, you can see right here that I'm just kind of going through and making sure that it kind of gives that 90s feel. So we had like a lens flare, I think some blur as well. You can just kind of look at the things that I added, and then of course there was an issue with, so I noticed whenever you're rendering grease pencil objects, and then there's also freestyle, and freestyle is of course the black line that goes over the 3D objects that the camera applies. that it'll cut through the grease pencil object. So a way to counteract this is to separate the view layers. So put the grease pencil strokes on in one view layer category, and then of course put the 3D objects in a separate view layer. And you can actually see that on the top right where it says 3D. I had already done that, and I will make a separate video most likely about view layers to kind of explain that more in depth, but it's just really crucial because you'll find an error and it's super annoying. But you can see that there's a lens glare, lens distort filter that I'm using to really sell that that feel. Looking back at it, I should have just kept some things off. But yeah, so I'm just kind of matching the scale, size, perspective, and then of course going in there, adding an emission shader to that little bath to make it, or like a light to make it more like glowy and stuff. Cool. Yeah, so I'm really liking the way everything's looking, and the shadows look real. Looks pretty good, I think. So we're kind of coming in here and we're messing with the composition, looks like, and I'm actually like trying to do some like cell shading to see what that looks like, but it doesn't end well. And I think like the main point to take away from this is that a lot of it has to do with like how you play around and how you make the composition look, because at first it'll look a way that you do like, and then sometimes you just want to see how other elements combined together come out. So once again, just have fun, play around, make it look cool, and yeah. Yeah, so based off the, let me see. Yeah, so here I am just kind of going back into a photo editing software, and I'm quickly making the call icon right here, so to kind of to play off and to make it look just like Cyberpunk. So nothing like too fancy, too special, anything like that, but yeah. And I honestly think I spent too much time on this. I don't think I really spent a lot of time, but I think the idea was to make it look somewhat decent, which I messed up on, as you can see, and I think I just made it like square. Yeah. So yeah, now I'm just gonna export that bad boy as a PNG, and we will use the Z, I think image alpha, yeah, the Z combined to overlay it on top. Then we're actually going to export the whole image as a 1920 by 1080, so it just is an easy thing. I don't have to like mess with the coordinates or anything like that. And then make sure to apply it before the lens distortion and stuff like that, so it can actually blend pretty well with the composition. And a lot of this is just mixing and messing with nodes and making sure that it looks like somewhat decent. So yeah, so we're messing with nodes. We're making sure that there's an active view render, and that's on the right, by the way. That's how I can keep actively updating and viewing. I'm gonna do a whole video most likely on rendering and view layers and all that stuff. Like, it's gonna be pretty in depth. But yeah, so I'm really playing with the blur here and making it just look like this, like 90s. Like, I'm just like really trying. So yeah, jumping forward, here I am with importing that original image, and I'm just trying to erase her out. So I'm just gonna go ahead, take her out of the image, and we will replace that other background images playing on there so that we can kind of finish the composition. So look, there we go. That's a clean slate, and I think I ended up erasing more from the composition if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and change that file. Look for it. Boom. There it is. Looks a lot better. Imported. And then I was just like, yeah, let's just go ahead and take off these columns because the columns are getting hard to work with. So I just went around and just kind of magic erased all of that so that it's just like really nice and clean. Get rid of those divisions. We'll export this again. And see, like I said, a lot of this is just playing around, doing what looks good and just going like from there and stuff. So yeah, cool. So we do render. I like it okay. And then I guess I decided to completely remove everything from the scene and then use just that as a background. So as you can see, it started simple and got a little more complex, but it ended really simple too. So like, yeah, that looks a lot cleaner. So I'm just gonna go ahead and scale that and make sure like that is the appropriate size and just like play around with the proportions here. So yeah, we're just gonna do the final touches. We'll go over here and now start doing the shading. I messed up on shading so bad, so I think we're going to skip through this bit, but basically you're just gonna do a separate layer. Make sure it's mashed to not mashed. Make sure it's a mask to the previous one, and I of course have a tutorial about masking, and I'll link it above. So yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and link it. Masking, and then let me see where we are at. Okay, cool. So here is the final render. I hate these shadows and I'm not like a huge fan of it myself, but this is just practice. The point of it is practice, 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 and hopefully in the next animation it'll be a lot better. So some takeaways that we want to kind of like reiterate over: make use of 3D space, it's really powerful. Make use of composition, it's really powerful. Hopefully your composition is way better than mine. Make sure that we are taking the time to do line work, because that is something I did not do well, and also be aware of shading. So shading is something that I think crippled this as well. But moving forward, hopefully we can learn from these mistakes, and the next animation I present to you guys will be a lot better, but I just wanted to show you that you can do cool things like this in Grease Pencil. So yeah, that is all that I have. But yeah, it was a pleasure talking to you guys, seeing you, and I will see you in the Discord. Join if you haven't already, like and subscribe. Hopefully this was somewhat informational to you. I'm still learning all this stuff, so yeah, learn with me as I learn with you. I'll see you guys in the next video. See ya.